welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at the third film in the Dirty Harry series, which came out in 1976. That movie is The Enforcer. Now, as is sort of usual with this series, I don't know a lot about this one, guys. I do know that it's the third film in the Dirty Harry series. I know that in this one, Harry's partner is played by Tyne Daly. And I know that in this one, Harry is squaring off against a gang of terrorists. He's basically squaring off against a terror cell in California. Now, here, guys, to me is like the only thing that seems kind of weird. It seems like a little bit of a big jump to go from a serial killer in the first film to a gang of renegade rookie cops in the second film to a domestic terror cell. That to me feels like a huge jump when we could have been slowly building up towards that by having him square off against, I don't know, like the mafia or a drug cartel, you know, something a little bit smaller, and then you save the terror cell for a future movie. I am not totally sure if they are going to be able to make the threats bigger with each film now that the third one has kind of sort of blown its, you know, terrorist load. But then again, I have no idea if the third one is going to be any fucking good at all, and I'm getting a little bit, you know, ahead of myself. And the only way I'm going to find out if this thing is any good at all is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out The Enforcer. Okay, well, now, to be fair, they did honestly say that they only wanted a car with a police, you know, radio. They honestly never said anything about it getting plowed into the building. So I guess Harry kind of caught him on a technicality there, and I think he just shot one of the kidnappers in the fucking nuts. That was kind of fucked up, guys.
I'm coming down there in 5 minutes. You better have those files open, you pencil-pushing son of a bitch.
Well, guys, Harry has always been known for his tactfulness, and, you know, nothing honestly is going to get you files faster than calling the person who has to find the files a pencil-pushing son of a bitch. Frankly, I really think that is what I would do if I was incredibly pissed, so fuck, you know, good on him. You know, guys, you sometimes totally fucking get exactly how bad the racial fucking tensions were in the mid, you know, 70s. This scene is kind of painting it perfectly, and it's rather unfucking pleasant. Is that baseball field covered in fucking AstroTurf? Seriously? No, guys, this seriously looks fucking wrong. I don't think I've ever seen a baseball field which has AstroTurf instead of grass, and that shit stands out. It looks fucking homely. Did they actually have, like, Astrofield, you know, baseball fields in 1976? God, that looked fucking hideous. You know, guys, I never really thought I would see a scene in one of these Dirty Harry films where Harry is shaking down a priest in a fucking confessional. But that is exactly what that's exactly what I just saw. He just finished talking to him in the friggin' confessional. But still, Dirty Harry shook down a priest in a confessional. That honestly is really fucking cool, guys. Well, guys, that was The Enforcer. Let me shut that off. Okay, where to start? Wow. Let's start with writing. I think that might be the best place to start. The writing here is not as good as the first two Dirty Harry films. And when I say that, guys, I mean that the plot to this one feels really cheap and thin and kind of flimsy. Which is weird because the first two Dirty Harry movies were almost drowning in plot. I mean, where everything that happened for a reason. And Harry was very focused on taking care of Scorpio or taking out these cops. He was really focused on that. Here, guys, the story and the narrative, it is not that well focused. Because our primary enemies, Maxwell and his people, are one of the numerous militant groups that sprung up in the U.S. in the 1960s and 1970s. Except they were a little bit more violent, and they took the mayor of San Francisco hostage. Now, they don't take the mayor hostage until like halfway through the movie, and the whole thing with the mayor is almost a fucking afterthought until the last like 15 minutes. And that right there is when Harry finally goes and rescues the mayor. It's like and up until that point, we spend almost no time learning exactly why Maxwell and his team are doing this. We don't know why his militant group has been formed. The only thing we know is that Bobby Maxwell was a Vietnam vet, and he was discharged by Section 8, meaning he was mentally unfit for combat, which in most movies and TV shows it kind of translates to he's a little bit bonkers. And he sort of is, yes, but you see, the problem is that he doesn't have any real character beyond the fact that he is a former veteran who was sectioned out of the military. He really doesn't have any other character, and we do not have him on camera long enough to actually build any kind of character or personality or motivations. The only things that we know is that Bobby Maxwell's militant group hates the fucking cops, which basically is true of every one of the militant groups that came out in the 60s and the 70s. But that seriously is as far as their hatred goes, is to the cops. They hate the cops so much that they want to kidnap the mayor. We spend more time focusing on a totally separate militant group, which has almost nothing to do with the plot itself, outside of the fact that one of Maxwell's people used to be part of that group. We spend more time with this. We spend more time with this, black militant group than we do Maxwell's group, and Maxwell's group are the villains of the fucking film, and they are in no way fleshed out or built up, which is weird because, once more, the first two Dirty Harry films spent a lot of time showing you and explaining to you why these people are threatening, and the most we got here was they planted a bomb and they kidnapped the mayor, and it was a small scale bomb that was able to blow up a bathroom and nothing else. That is it for their threat level, and it felt kind of flimsy. And Harry is given a new partner here, and I am going to praise them for spending a lot of time fleshing her out and fleshing out her partnership with Harry. All of that was fine. It's just that the actual conflict in this movie feels almost like it wasn't even there, which is, once more, very, very just shockingly odd when the first two movies went to great lengths to show you why these criminals were doing what they are doing and what exactly was going through their minds. We spend almost no time with Maxwell and his group, and because of that, the whole thing feels just very, very flimsy and shoddy. And beyond that, though, everything else here is still at least halfway decent in terms of characters and story. It's just that the primary conflict never really takes off. It is certainly there, but you really are given no reason to care because they kidnapped the mayor. Oh well. I mean, that seriously was kind of my feeling when they kidnapped the mayor. So yeah, guys, writing here is really, really loose and kind of flimsy, and it is by far the weakest out of the Dirty Harry films I've seen in terms of writing. Now, with that said, Everything else here, though, works incredibly well. Our example, guys, our cast here turned in a fantastic showing. Special effects here, once more, what very few special effects are in the Dirty Harry films, are done very, very well. And now, mind you, now most of those special effects are things like, let's see here, squibs, and all that kind of stuff, and all of that is done well. Explosions and squibs are pretty much all that they have to do, and that's all that they will do, and it's done very, very well. I mean, it is done very, very well by the standards of 1976. So that's awesome. Camera work here is beautiful. Lighting here is fantastic, and once more, Frisco is a fantastic city to look at as all of this is going on. It's just that guys, that the writing could have definitely been a hell of a lot better. But I will say, I commented on the last Dirty Harry film that they kind of sort of stripped out a whole lot of the humor. The slightly darker humor that was in the first film. They when they stripped out a lot of that in the second movie, made it a far more like straight-faced film, and Harry wasn't as much of a snarky, smartass as he was in the first. Well, they were able to bring a whole lot of that back, and the movie has some really comic moments that are done very, very well, and I am going to praise the writing on that. Once more, it's just I kind of wish that they spent more time fleshing out our villains and actually making the conflict seem a little bit more important. But even, guys, with that, when all is said and done, would I be able to recommend Enforcer? Oh yeah, I mean, the movie is still a solid action movie, and people who are really into action movies normally do not care about plot anyway. Most of them are probably not even going to care about all of the complaints I've had about writing, because they honestly are just there for the chase scenes and the gunfights, and there is plenty of that, and all of that is there and all of that is done very, very well. So that means, guys, that action movie fans are going to love those. It's just that if you really loved the first two Dirty Harry films for being deep and for being deep and awesome, this one is not quite as deep, and it kind of suffers because of it. I'm genuinely hoping that the fourth movie gets better, but I have also heard people say that this one essentially is the last good movie in the series. I am genuinely hoping for it to get better from here. I am hoping for the writing to once more strengthen when we get to the fourth film, which is Sudden Impact. I am hoping for that. However, as of right now, Dirty Harry has turned out to be a really awesome series, and I am genuinely loving it, even guys, with its sometimes very, very noticeable flaws. I am genuinely liking this series so far. So yeah, guys, I would totally recommend this one, and if you can find it somewhere, watch it. However, I do have to say, you would probably be better off watching the first two movies first, because they are certainly better. But this one, though, is still at least halfway decent. And guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.